Welcome to the Weird Gun Game Show. Today we have 10 more builds to showcase from you, the community. Normally, this is where I would say that submissions are open, but this week they have to remain closed. I know, and I'm sorry, but I won't be home for a large portion of the week, so I won't be able to play as much Weird Gun Game as I would need in order to test the guns. But fear not, I will have a video on Weird Gun Game next week, even if it's not the Weird Gun Game Show, but use this opportunity to mess with the new pistols that have been added to the game. I've collected a wide range of both useful and goofy builds, with number one being a gun that literally blinds and deafens you. I've got my field correspondent that will be showing the guns in more depth as he plays, and with that, let's get right into our first build. At number 10, our first build comes from at Obama Burger 4697. They call this one the Stealth Rat. It's designed to be super quiet and nearly undetectable, very Hitman-like. Barrel is the water gun, core is the Scorpion, grip is the Croissant, mag is the UNP40 stock FC200SH, and sight is any. Paint it all black for the best immersion. The pros are good fire rate, hard to detect, 19% move speed increase, and decent damage. The cons are initial recoil can be bad, high spread, and only 30 rounds. Can anyone find our field reporter? Let's see. All right, we are here with the Stealth Rat. Stealth Rat, a very fun, fast-moving SMG that has a very low detect radius. If you don't know, there is something in the game called detection. If you have a gun that is relatively loud or has some really loud parts, you'll get a little red diamond above your head or red circle above your head, like some of these people do whenever they shoot. But if you're outside of that detection radius, that will not pop up. So you can see these guys have it. This is meant to give you as little detection as possible, and it's still relatively usable within its range. So I do have some stats here. It says it has a 20 stud detection radius, 17% buff to move speed. Obama Burger says it is best on King of the Hill, on Lakamba and Factory, hide on or near the site, and simply mow people down without them even knowing you're there, reposition and repeat, and then paint it all black for the best immersion, which is what I did. As much as I could, it wouldn't let me paint the actual water in the water barrel black, which would have been really cool. Pros are good fire rate, hard to detect, very fast, decent damage. Cons, initial recoil can be bad, which is true. Only 30 rounds and high spread. Well, honestly, the spread hasn't been too bad, actually. It's very manageable for what it is. I believe there may have been an update since this was submitted on last Tuesday. The movement speed's actually 19%. You're actually moving a little bit faster than what you said, which is fine. So far, recoil hasn't been that bad. What I will say is this, is that you do want to play this within your damage range, because the drop-off is fairly severe. It does some decent damage for what it is, and I've been enjoying this as my number 10 slot here. I like the idea of a very stealthy, fast build, which I think is pretty fun personally. So to wrap it up, fast firing, fast movement speed, pretty decent damage, very quick reload, very low detection rate. It has issues with some recoil problems, especially initial recoil. 30 round magazine is a little bit low, but that reload is super fast that it kind of makes up for it. And with that being said, let's get back to you in the studio. Number 9. Our next build comes from at Nonfiction06 with a build that is very good for players who may have a hard time with recoil control. The barrel is the Circuit Judge, the core is the Fedorov, the Automat, the grip is the M60, the mag is the Scorpion, the stock is the Anvil, and the sight are irons, or any of your choosing. The pros, very flat shooting, high damage, and fast reload. The cons, slow movement and slow fire rate. Show us that automat love, Bubba. Our number 9 build here is an automat build, which, if you know me, is very close to my heart, very near and dear. I love the automat, but the automat has a lot of issues in terms of fire rate. Even though it does a crap ton of damage, The fire rate for the automat is very, very slow. That is the biggest issue with the gun. This setup has some pretty cool things going for it. Like, for one, it does have a fairly decent fire rate for an automat build. So it is a little bit faster, it seems, than your typical build. However, it has the issue of having these sights. Now, they specifically said iron sights. They didn't say what iron sights, so it doesn't really matter. So pick your favorite and go with it. I'm gonna go red dot because I feel like, you know, that's appropriate for me, even though this is not technically an iron sight. And you know what, that's fine. This thing has pretty darn high damage even at range, so I can easily outshoot enemies that are trying to get the best of me. It's incredibly flat shooting because of the anvil, which is very nice. Very little to no recoil, and you're just going to be laying down some hate. You want to really use this at range more than you do close up because, well, you want to keep the SMG users at bay. Let's be real. Or anybody that's using a very fast fire rate gun that, like, let's say does a decent amount of damage, that's in that SMG sort of category. The downsides pretty much are that fire rate, and the movement speed in particular is bad because of the anvil. You're not going to be really getting out of the line of fire here, so what you're going to have to do is pretty much play in cover the entire time. We have a viewer in the game actually named KexK or Kexka. Not exactly sure how to pronounce it. They gave a big hello. They said they're a fan of the channel. They want to give a big hello to the viewers and say hello back to them. Well, that was nice. Very kind. You guys out there are very kind people. I appreciate you all. So to quick recap, very strong, very flat firing, very good for newer people or for people who are new to FPS games or for people who have a hard time controlling recoil. Very good damage at range. The downsides, anybody is up close to you and has a higher rate of fire gun, you're going to be in trouble. Or heck, even if they're farther away and have a higher rate of fire gun, you're going to be in trouble, and your movement speed takes a huge penalty, and that is the issue. But overall, pretty darn good gun. Going back to the studio. Number 8. Number 8 comes from at a fungus guy. They have submitted a gun that aims to replicate a minigun. The barrel is the oil drum, the core is the MG42, the grip is the Vector, the mag is the Scar drum, the stock is the M870 breacher, and sight is any. The pros are this thing being fast firing, fast reloading. The cons, slow moving, spreads a little big, damage is low, and initial recoil is rough. Show us how it's done, Bubba. Our next build is build number 8. It's supposed to be a minigun build. This one's more for fun than anything. It is also very loud because of the drum. One of the good things about it is that the reload is actually pretty fast. So you're not having to worry about some of those bigger magazines like Negev or any of the LMG magazines, since this one is the, uh-oh, that's bad, the Scar AR, Scar L, Scar drum mag. I do love me a good minigun build, but what I will say is that damage is not amazing. It is meant to spray ammo downrange like crazy. You are supposed to be throwing lead and make them dead. That's what I say, boys. And that's what this gun does. You can get kills with it. It's not like the worst thing in the world, but so you can see it's got some okay spread. You kind of have to really ADS and wait for the aim down sights to kick in for the spread to actually work. If you're up close to people though, you can do that. I think I'm in a bit of a laggy game, but you can sort of hip fire a little bit. It'll spray everywhere, but yeah, if we do this move here, then you can see what the spread is. I think movement speed's a little bit lower. I should say lower, not like super low. Also, initial recoil, pretty rough, but you do shoot fast enough that it kind of evens out. The one issue, I will say this, is that even with the 50 round magazine, I feel like I need more bullets. Luckily, it reloads fast enough, but dang. So to recap on this build, pros, pretty fast firing, almost 1200 RPM, reloads really nice. It's a minigun. That's what it's got going for it. Problems with it are damage is a little low, movement speed takes a hit, but it's fun nonetheless. That's why it's here at number 8. Number 7. The next one is from @MFL_J. They claim this to be the perfect gun for starter players. The barrel is the FC200SH, the core is the AKM, the grip is the Circuit Judge, the mag is the MP40, the stock is the M1 Garand, and the sight is the Red Dot. Pros, probably relatively cheap. Core is the starter core, has decent damage, decent fire rate, fast reload. The cons, the initial recoil is fairly sharp. Show these new players what's up, Bubba. Our build here at number 7 is designed to be a pretty good gun, or a perfect gun even, as the creator says, for starting people. It's got a core that you're basically going to have just from the get-go with an AK core. And the rest of it you can get, but it's got some decent fire rate, it's got decent damage, and it's got a pretty good reload speed. If you're able to control recoil, then this gun is fairly easy to control. It does, however, I will say, have a bit of a sharp initial recoil, as do a lot of the weapons in this game. But if you can get past that, then you're gonna get a gun that, even at that range, does 26 damage per hit, which means that its headshot potential is even higher than that at 39, which is good. Decent movement speed even. I don't know, I would have to see when I die if there is a buff to movement speed in any way, but if there isn't, it definitely feels like it's a little bit faster. So maybe I'm just thinking that maybe it's a placebo effect. Woo! It's a good triple there. A little double kill. Almost. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna chill out, bro. My tracking is awful today. I have not really played a lot of weird gun game this week. Ooh, geez. Actually, I played a little bit to get the guns, but not today. I haven't played a lot today. Come on. There we go. Pros and cons here as a recap. Pros. Pretty good build for new players, starter players. Although I would argue that the Fedorov build is a little bit better for newer players. Now, this just might be a bit cheaper, honestly, because you don't have to buy the core. I don't know prices because unfortunately I can't see them after having bought everything. So this might be a relatively cheap overall setup. Pretty decent for starters, especially with this nice damage. The drop off, you still get some pretty decent damage. It's a manageable fire rate, although it is a little bit on the slower side. You do have a little bit of a movement speed penalty. And I guess we're into the cons now. The initial recoil can be a little rough. It can be a little hard to control initially. Other than that, still a pretty solid build, so that's why it's in the number 7 slot. Back to you all. Number 6. If you like mustard, then number 6 from @CyborgTitan is for you. Barrel is the mustard barrel. The core is the M1897 trench gun. Grip is the pistol. The mag is the M870 breacher. Stock M870 MCS. And the sight is any. This shotgun shoots mustard. Lots and lots of mustard. The pros, mustard. It can one-shot. It's fast firing and movement feels fast. The cons, you gotta reload a lot. You need to be close to hit enemies, and there's no catch-up. Lather me in mustard, Bubba. Our number 6 build here is all about mustard. I hope you have some hot dogs or pretzels or bratwurst or something ready, because this is all mustard all the time. We have seen builds like this that are pretty similar to trench shotgun and then breacher magazine builds, where you have a lot of pellets that are coming out here, but we haven't seen one with the mustard barrel. And this build is all centered around shooting mustard everywhere. It's not really about damage. It's not really about anything else. It is about mustard, and that's what we've got. The thing is about the mustard barrel is that it increases your rate of fire. So what it does in the sense of the shotgun is the breacher shotgun was already a fairly fast firing shotgun as it was, and then you bring in the mustard and guess what? It's even faster. And the other cool thing about the mustard barrel is that, well, because it shoots mustard, it makes everything yellow. So anything that it hits, well, it turns yellow. And that's sort of the fun of it. Now, I do seem to be getting a bit of a speed boost here, at least a perceived speed boost. I will say that in terms of some of the other shotgun builds I've had, maybe this isn't the best in terms of damage or spread or whatever, but it is the best in terms of mustard. So the pros for this shotgun really come down to mustard. So let's talk about pros. Very fast fire rate due to that mustard. Very seemingly fast movement speed, because I believe we've got a lot of stuff here that maybe gives me some boost to movement. So fast fire rate. It can one-shot, obviously, within a certain range here. Where am I getting shot from? Anywhere? So if you're particularly good and you love fast movement builds, kind of like I do, this might be something that you'll enjoy. So 3% increase to movement speed. Not a lot, but I am feeling it. The fire rate is 190 for a shotgun, which is crazy fast, especially for a pump action. So pretty decent, but it's only 40 pellets. So we have seen shotguns before that do a lot more in terms of their pellet count. Obviously, we had the 100 pellet shotgun that did 600 damage. I can't believe I hit that. The downsides are that you do have to be relatively close. You're going to be constantly reloading, stuff like that that really play into the shotgun stuff. But other than that, this is a great build. This is super fun and stupid. And if you play the game like I do, like a spastic, like you have ADHD and you're hyped up on caffeine, then you're probably gonna love this build like I do. Number 5. Number 5 comes from @MountainGoat29. They are bringing us a unique sniper rifle that gains more damage the further away you are from your enemy. The barrel is the light gun, the core is the lightning shot, the grip is the PPSH-41, the mag is the Mega Soaker, the stock is the AWM, the sight is the long musket. Pros: damage potential, relatively fast rate of fire, and lots of ammo. Cons: the damage is less if someone is up close. Show us what's up, Bubba. Our number 5 build here is, well, it's a weird one because it is using the lightning shot, which is unique from other snipers because in the case of this gun, the farther away you are, the more damage it does. If you're close, a headshot does, I believe, 93 damage, but if you're farther away, it does 300. Let me show you down here. If I get close, you can do this, boom, 42 and 85 to the head. The rechambering is nice because you're just having to pull back on the bolt like this. So you're able to shoot and get back into it real quick. Boom. And I can hold off this whole enemy team here very quickly. Man, my shots are killing it. Oh, they're coming for me. They really want me dead. A lot of the people in here know who I am. And before I get any farther, I'm gonna just throw this out here. Some people said I'm fake. So 007N7 and Lily, I'm not the fake. You're the fake. So the benefits to this gun, huge one-shot potential, pretty fast fire rate. As you can see, I am just putting on a sniping show here. Yeah, you're gone, boy. So that is a benefit. The farther away you are, the more damage you do. That is also the con. That is the downside, is that the farther away, the more damage you do. So it works in reverse. If you're too close, you do less damage. So pretty good gun overall. Really fun one-shot sniper. Back to you in the studio. Number 4. The next build comes from @FrontDoor-3. If you're hungry, this loaf of bread will fill your belly with lead. The barrel is the M1897, the core is the loaf, grip is M16, mag STG-44, stock AS Val, sight any. Pros: it's a fun single shot gun with a high skill ceiling, good damage, and the reload is nice. The cons: recoil pattern is insane to control. Show us how you do it, Bubba. All right, our number 4 weapon is a bit of a single shotgun here. It is the loaf of bread, which I have never used before. So this is an interesting gun. because it is single shot. Its speed is determined by how fast you can click. I'm kind of choosing it more for the novelty than anything. I've been having fun with it. If I could hit my shots with it, I would probably be doing okay, because it's actually pretty strong for what it is. The problem really is the single shot nature of it, so you need to kind of really be on it when it comes to your aim. Otherwise, you're gonna miss your shots. It's okay. This is a pretty fun build. It is I would like to say a higher skill build. I'm not gonna say this with too much certainty, and maybe I'll try it myself here, but you probably could get away a little bit with a bit of a bigger zoom. We'll actually try that with a bigger zoom here. You know, we'll try it with the Hell Trooper sight here, because why not? Just to see how it goes, because I will say the recoil a little bit rough. This is okay. No, never mind. If you're going to use this gun, like I am, you want to be kind of up close with it, because the recoil pattern is so weird. Let me show you what I mean here. We saw it with the gun. As you can see, it kind of climbs in like a zigzag pattern. Unfortunately, that means it's going to be very difficult to control, so you do want to be relatively close. It's a hard gun to use, high skill ceiling, still very usable. So it's pretty high on the list because I actually had a pretty fun time with it because of that higher skill ceiling, but I found it to be fun nonetheless. Back to you in the studio. Number 3. Number 3 is from @Pusheen the Cat 9264. I love a good PP19 build, and this one, while the user claims to be expensive, is pretty nasty in close quarters. The barrel is the Vector, the core is the Bison, the grip is the PPSH-41, the mag is the M16, the stock is the Nambu, and the sight is the Red Dot. The pros are that it is super flat shooting, a fast reload, and good damage. The cons could use a little more ammo, and damage is not that great at range. Blasts away some enemies, Bubba. My number 3 build is a really fun SMG build. It is described as being an extremely expensive yet busted CQC gun, so close quarters combat gun. So we're talking SMG. Very fun, very fast shooting, pretty decent damage output actually, and the recoil is very, very manageable. I don't know prices, so I can't tell you whether it's like super expensive or not, but if you are into close quarters builds that do a decent amount of damage and have a decent amount of speed, this might be right for you. I had a good time with it, and I'm still having a good time with it because I like the movement, I like the speed, I like the damage. It's a fun overall build. What I like about this also is that it is the Bison, the PP19 Bison being the core, and I don't think that the Bison gets enough love, honestly. It's got the cool magazine that's like round, the Helix mag or whatever they call it. It's a really cool looking gun. It might be in this sort of AK family of things, but it's still pretty cool. The heck? Why am I suppressed? Getting shot at through a wall. The heck? I will say that the damage is a little bit lower, so you are going to want to play this pretty up close. And it is even worse at range. You're doing like, if you're across the map on here, you're doing like 6 damage. So you're not doing a lot, which means that you want to try and close the gaps as much as possible. Take close quarters fights, maybe in hallways, and use that to your advantage. Try not to get shot by a shotgun. Little increase to movement speed, very flat firing. It's very easy to control, very fun to use. I'm having a blast with this one. Only downsides, I believe, are that it's a little bit more expensive and the 30 round mag hurts it a little bit. Other than that, pretty darn good. Back to you in the studio. Number 2. Our next to last build is from @Dr. Doom's Mind. They've built the anti-material rifle from the GOAT, Fallout New Vegas. The barrel is the Heket 2, the core is the VSSR, the grip is the AKM, the mag, Lightning Shot, stock, Hell Trooper 23, and the sight is the AWM. The pros are that this is super strong, looks great, it passes a vibe check. The cons, It's slow and has huge recoil. Cut him down with VATS, Bubba. All right, our number 2 build is based off of one of the most goated games of all time, Fallout New Vegas. This gun is based on the anti-material rifle. It is pretty much as close as I think I can make it with the parts. This thing hits like a Mack truck, if I could hit anything with it. It does, if I hit, it does 140 some odd damage, I believe, to the body, and 280 something to the head, which is pretty great. So it will just dominate enemies. However, as awesome as that is, the fire rate is pretty slow. The recoil, super heavy, and the reload very, very slow. You're not going to be doing a lot of like speedy, quick scoping, quick sniping stuff with this build. So if you are looking for just a good, loud, powerful sniper rifle, this one could be for you. Although what I would say is if you're going to use it, play your corners, play cover, and play some cheeky angles. Ooh, I got that one through the defeat screen. But let's be real. Despite all the pros and cons of actually using the gun, we all know the real reason that we're here, right? This is why it's number 2. It's meant to be the anti-material rifle from one of the best games of all time. That's why we're here. Fallout New Vegas. I like it a lot. The vibe is there. Good job. Back to you in the studio. Number 1. Number 1, I'm dubbing the Helen Keller because it will make you deaf and blind. This one comes from @King Penguin. They say they've been trying to make a flamethrower build for a while, and this is as close as they've gotten. The barrel is the blunderbuss, the core is the hex spitter, the grip is the controller, the mag is the mega soaker, the stock is the AWM, sight any low zoom. The pros, it's super loud, there's a ton of smoke, and it shoots fast. The cons, it's super loud, it shoots a lot of smoke, and the damage isn't really all that great. Blow them away, Bubba. Our number 1 gun is all cons and only 1 pro. And the pro outweighs the cons so much so that it made it number 1, because this is not a very usable weapon. But as you can see, it is ridiculously loud. It is hilarious to behold. It shoots so much smoke, you can't even see who you're fighting. Really, can you see if you're even fighting anyone at all? If you're close enough, you can get some kills. You do need to be pretty much touching them though. You have 60 rounds. Who's ever needed to hear anything? This one is from King Penguin, and they said they've been cooking up this gun for a little while, with the general idea being high fire rate and high pellet count to make it somewhat like a flamethrower. And this is as good as they've ever been able to get. So trying to go for a sort of flamethrower vibe, which I get that. And honestly, with the amount of smoke that this thing puts out, you'd think that there would be some fire actually behind that maybe. This gun quite literally is blowing out my eardrums. And I'm gonna be honest, as goofy and as stupid as it is, I freaking love it, man. It's the dumbest thing ever. The only thing that would make this gun better is if the game itself had some sort of like fire mechanic to where I could actually shoot fire out of my gun. But because I can't shoot fire out of my gun, that's the only thing that doesn't make this like a 19 out of 10. This is an excellent, fun build that is really stupid. If you can find a way to make it work on a super small map, you're probably going to have a pretty good time with it like I am. And with that being said, back to the studio. And with that, I want to thank everybody for coming to another Weird Gun Game show. If you enjoyed it, be sure to leave a like on the video. Feel free to subscribe. Like I said, submissions will not be open this week because I won't be home. So I won't be able to do all the testing that I normally do and put together a big list and all the stuff that I would normally do for the episode. So we'll do something a little different next week for it, but continue to make your builds and then submit them next week, and we'll see what's up. Anyways, with that being said, thank you so much for watching the video. I'll see you all next time. BubbaTV24 signing out.